especially the Jewish people. They faced persecution from the Europeans in the 30s and 40s, but look how quickly they've grown one of the most powerful empires in the world with Israel. And that took about 80
Yeah, but
years.
you cannot say that they forgot. You cannot say that it's in the past. Yeah, they've grown, they did their thing. Two things can coexist. So they can be like, hey, you know what? We did so many great things, but you cannot claim that everything is in the past and some would say that they actually victimize themselves about that.
Yeah,
because they always bring it up.
100%.
So what do you can't be like, oh yeah, you have to move past that. You're putting your example of the Jewish people, they do exactly what you're saying they're not doing.
Mm-hmm. To censor people, and they say never forget, and they harp on that forever, and a lot of people get canceled that way. But it's smarter. The analogy I'm making is that the black community could maybe learn from the Jewish community and say, instead of living in a victim mentality, how can we find a way to empower? What is the real struggle that's happening right now? What's happening today?
You just said that they do play victims. So what example are we going to do?
They play victim in a different. They don't identify the same way that black people. You won't see people in the Jewish community lash out when they hear attacks like that and then act violently in the streets. Their response.
Where have you been? Hold on, but you got censored literally because they lashed out.
That's the difference. That's the difference.
Symbols, whatever.
That's they will work with legislation. I just got banned from Australia. They work as a power unit and they use that to grow. Black people, do you not understand the difference?
Yeah, your difference isn't the root cause. Your difference is in how they react, but the reaction is still one of a group of people who hold on to the past and understand its legacy still lives today. So you're not actually addressing the idea that they're different. You're just saying they have more institutional power. You're saying that they can affect more change. Yeah, okay, but that's not a reference to them not being quote unquote victims, even though I don't even believe in that narrative. But let's say that is the one that you're going with. They're not being the victims in your world. They just have more power to handle their issues when they are victimized.
But you're also denying, when you're saying that, you're also denying everything that the black people try to do. Like the Black Wall Street, all the cities that the black people in America tried to have. They try to band together. Oh, these people don't want to have anything to do with us. Let's just band together and do our thing. What happened? The government bombed them. So it's not like they didn't try to do what the Jewish people did.
The government bombed Black Wall Street?
Well, not Black Wall Street, but Tulsa. They bombed other places in the other places that black people had. So it's not like black people didn't try to band together and create their own thing. You know what? Let us create our own thing, our own cities, our own laws. We're gonna exit wherever the hell you are, and we're gonna create our own things. And you don't bother us, we don't bother you. We're gonna create our own society. What happened? They got bombed. They got erased. A multiple time in the history of America where black people decided to do their own thing, like what you're saying that they should do, like the Jews, what they did, and they got bombed.
Yeah, and also, when you talk about institutional power, they may not have as much, but they have influenced change. Whether it was getting rid of redlining or other policies in place that did negatively impact them post-segregation. So there's been a lot of things that they've done to influence that. And also, a lot of people have taken great care to move themselves up from an economic standpoint as well. If you look at all the charters, black folks today are doing substantially better than they were in the past.
I agree.
So this whole narrative that just essentially just victims is not true.
I'm not saying just victims, but there's a strong victim mentality within black culture. Can you agree?
There's a strong victim mentality within black culture. What does that mean? That's just a term. Like, what does that mean when you say victim? Because you defined earlier the Jews as victim mentality, but then you said kind of not really.
Right,
so
but they found a better. I also think that they hold on to a victim mentality. They've grown more. So the comparison is, how can you grow out of that? They use it. They weaponize that victim culture. I think black culture, it's weaponized not in a way that's uplifting and empowering, when it could be a lot stronger, especially when you're saying they got rid of redlining and the socioeconomic problems don't exist in the same way. There's got to be more growth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there has been a lot of growth, which you acknowledge. You might not like the amount of it, but there has been a lot of growth. That's one. Like, we have more educated black folks today than we've had in a long time, especially black women outpacing a lot of folks. You have more people in terms of income levels rising up in a lot of these areas. There's a lot of other good markers. There's still some issues, but there's good markers. So this idea that there hasn't been a lot of progress, I think, belies the fact that you're comparing them also to a group of people who had a completely different history and different entry into the marketplace. You're talking about people who had settled generations in different countries where they're able to accumulate wealth versus a group of people who exited segregation in 1963. They're not comparable. That's one. But another aspect is like, even when you say victim mentality, why do you even say, like, is it because they get offended by the idea that you might say the N-word, that they get offended by certain symbols when they're portrayed? Like, why do you say victim mentality? Is it because of those things?
Well, how is black culture defined?
How is black culture
defined? How would you define black culture?
So it's probably by the experience of the descendants of slaves in, basically North America or based in USA. So post and everything that comes with that would be the food, the linguistics, the music, the art, the history. So there's a lot of ways, but there's different things that you would put into that.